What's going on? This is June 30th, and we are going to talk about Millionaire Savings Plan. It's going to be one topic. Try to do this as much as I possibly can, and just pretty much go back to what my main focus. And one of my main focuses is financial success. One of the reasons why I wrote the Millionaire Savings Plan was because I was trying to find out why I was making money, why I was financially successful at earning money, but I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't having any success from my labor, from the capital that I was able to attain. I was not able to get anywhere. And almost like pretty much some of the origins of religious prophets, peace be upon them all. I had a late night epiphany, and I had a vision, and that vision was the Millionaire Savings Plan. And that is what ultimately helped me retain the capital that I was able to earn. And basically, it's two people that a lot of people talk about, right? Spenders. Some people are spenders, some people are savers. I do strongly believe that that is true. I definitely believe that that is definitely true. People are either spenders, more spenders than they are savers, or savers more than they are spenders. I do think that that is basically how people are wounded or uh, are wired. I do strongly believe in that. Some people are really frugal. Some people are so spend happy that they will literally go broke spending money on different items and clothes, gadgets, and all kind of other stuff. It just is what it is. This is something that you either are or you aren't. You either a spender or you're more of a saver. I don't think that people are strong or you know as far as controlling that to a certain degree. I think it's just something that people, it's kind of like a personality. You either more of a spender or you're more of a saver. Now, this is one of the keys to why the Millionaire Savings Plan is so effective. I'm gonna tell you why it's so effective. This is just no cap. This is not me trying to sell any books or trying to tell you anything that I don't think that is necessarily true or untrue. This is a fact. One of the things about the Millionaire Savings Plan that I was able to accomplish when it comes down to being able to earn money, make over $50,000 a year for years, for decades, and pretty much come up with a bunch of pocket lint at the end of the week every time I got paid. How I was able to save money was basically using the tenets of the Millionaire Savings Plan. I was able to basically trick myself to be an in between person between being a saver and a spender at the same time. What do I mean by that? basically, when you start off on step one, you start off with $1,000, or you work your way up to $1,000 after you got the prereqs out the way. You basically try to hold that $1,000, make it grow to $2,000 to get on step two. So in essence, you're basically training yourself to be more of a saver and not just a spender, and not just this one trick pony where you just basically just spending money. And it also helps actually the saver, because a lot of times people save money but then they don't do nothing with it. They don't invest it. They don't you know buy anything that's menial, that has any type of value. They just basically just saving money, and then it's like, well, what are you doing? I mean, you're just basically making the bank rich by you saving all of this money, and you're not growing. You're just basically just making everybody else rich holding your money. So yeah, it helps the saver and the spender, because once you get up to each step, you actually get yourself a reward. I usually recommend that you make it something that you absolutely need to enrich your life. Because what is money? What is money? It's a tool, or a instrument that you can use to buy goods and services, and other things as well, but mainly goods and services. So you get money to basically pay for cost of living items that you need to better your life, right? If you're using it right, pay for health care, pay for the car to get you fixed up, pay for the house to get fixed up, pay for a long, much needed vacation for you and your family. This is what you could do with the money that you actually save. Where a lot of people fall short is that they pretty much just don't either save any money because they're spenders. They just go live check to check to check to check to check to check to check, and then you run out of checks. Because pretty much somewhere along the line, the checks stop coming. And then where the saver gets screwed over, you saved all of this money. I got family members that, close to me that have this problem. You've saved all of this money, right? And you do have money that you've saved, but you've not bought enough assets to cover any type of growth. Your growth becomes stagnant. You might have only bought one house. You got your money rolled into various different instruments. If you got a 401k, it's taking a nosedive because currently the stock market, I just read a report. The stock market is basically on a decline, and have taken a nosedive to numbers where it's hasn't taken that type of a decline since the 1970s. So you got your money in a 401k, you taking record losses. That's your quote unquote retirement. You got your money in a savings account. You got credit lines that you're not using. And other people, they're not, they're not doing that. They're maximizing their investments, taking an opportunity. I'm starting to see a lot of opportunity out here. I'm starting to see quite a bit of opportunity actually. I'm seeing cars that are up for sale that I've never seen, up for sale at really good prices. I haven't really seen too much real estate, but I am slowly starting to see real estate deals that are still pretty decent. But people that are too much of a saver to where they're either fearful. A lot of times this is it's saved off of people are saving based off of fear to touch the water, to skinny dip and get inside the water, right? So then they basically use all of this money. um Basically they don't use all of this money. They hoard this money into various different places, such as, like I said, banks and mutual funds and 401ks. Insurance, you could even say, is on that list. And then basically, after a while, there's basically uh no growth, no financial growth, because basically you have the money, you have the capital, but then you don't have any growth. So you have something to show for yourself, but after a while, the problem with no growth is that you basically are not hedging inflation, one, and then also while other people are getting extremely wealthy and rich, you're just basically stuck. You have money, but then you become stuck. And that's where the problem, where the saver that does not make a move but just saves and does not invest, does not grow that money, becomes an issue. On the opposite end, where it becomes an issue, where this is pretty much common, because one thing about the saver does have money that they saved. The opposite end of that spectrum is the person that spends way too much on frivolous items. What do I mean by that? Okay. One of the things my aunt told me that I'll never forget: don't waste your money on stuff that you can't hold or see at a later date. It's good advice. It goes back to what I'm saying about frivolous things, like for example, coffee, dining out, food, you know, clothing that is basically something that you're not gonna wear long term. It's gonna just sit in your closet. Shoes, bags, you know, uh, just trinkets such as like uh keychains. I mean, just various different things, man. I mean, it could be just driving around burning gas. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. I mean, basically, if you're not buying assets, if you're not at the very most, right, to control the actual spending, the way you can hedge being a spender is buying assets. Such as, like, for example, one of the things people don't know is that if you could get into buying, like, for example, luxury watches like Breitlings, if you have enough money to buy like Breitlings, Rolex watches, even jewelry for that matter, You can always sell your jewelry to get money off of it at the very least. And then on the most end of it, you can get into an actual business where you resell luxury items such as jewelry, watches, different luxury items, right? And then you can actually make money off of your spending habits. Ideally, what you could make money off of is houses and vehicles. Why houses and vehicles? Vehicles, people are going to need a vehicle. People are going to need a car. One thing you can always count on is people are going to need a car. They're definitely going to always need some type of vehicle. That's just a fact. People are going to always need some type of housing. There's so much of a need for housing that there's a housing demand. That's how much people need housing. During the 2008 housing market bubble, or the Great Recession, as they call it, they built too few houses because people were scared, and they were panicking, and they were losing their money and investments and credit lines, and losing a lot of money. A lot of people did not continue their projects for custom built homes. They didn't buy any more properties to actually rebuild. They stopped building, basically. So that created a dynamic to where people got older. Millennials got aged out to the point where at one time people were talking about millennials not buying housing. And then when they started buying houses, when they needed to buy houses, there were no houses to buy. It's basically one of the first things you learn in business class when you take economics 101. You learn about the law of supply and demand. Because there was no demand 10 years ago affected the actual demand that was needed 10 years in the future. What the smart people did, very, very few, they bought a lot of real estate and they held it, because a lot of times people do this when they're older. They just held real estate. Is a company, if you want to research, if you got time, is a company in the Chicagoland area that I'll never forget. And they're still going strong to this day. If you ever got time, you could research this company here. This is basically a real estate company in the Chicagoland area. So what happened in the 2008 collapse, and Robert Kiyosaki talks about that, author of Rich Dad and Poor Dad, ex-Marine fighter pilot, financial guru, businessman. He talks about basically waiting for bubbles. Being like Anthony Adams, the man with the yellow suit, waiting behind a tree, touching their hands, waiting for the opportunity for something to come up. Well, what Pangea did, Chicagoland real estate, leasing company, basically, property holder. They start to see all of these buildings, 2 flat, 3 flat buildings, 4 flat, 8 unit, multi units, 16 units, 32 units, whatever. They got money, I'm sure, from investing firms and different investors, and they just start buying up all of these properties. They bought up every property that was available, just about. I mean, anything that was available, they snatched it up. The last apartment building that I've ever lived in, they gobbled it up. It was owned by a black man, state trooper. He had a insurance company on the side. He fell behind. He had multiple properties. He had a property in the city of Chicago. He had properties all over. He had bad customer service. And he also had a bad product. Because see, in one of the core videos that I have on my page, it got a lot of views too. This is basically just so old. You have two things in business. You have, and you basically, you could look at this from the Chick-fil-A model and the Popeyes model. You have good customer service or bad customer service, a good product or good service. A lot of times people will still buy your product even if you have bad customer service, because they just need your product. For one reason or another, people like Popeyes, and they're willing to kind of deal with the shoddy customer service depending on where it is and who's running the franchise. But then you go to Chick-fil-A, and they actually have a much superior product, really, and also they demand customer service, higher tier customer service for their employees. And not to say that Popeyes didn't have lines around the corner, right? Or still, even to this day, have lines in their franchises. But also, Chick-fil-A has lines around the corner. They have consistent lines around the corner. You go into their location during the day or even at night, and it's packed. It's packed like like a government office. That's how packed it is, right? Because people enjoy good customer service and good quality products. This guy, mainly because of how his business practices are, or just how he is as a person, being, let's just say, maybe more of an asshole, right? And just maybe having a one-man operation, or trying to run his business just basically by himself with no help. I don't know what the man was going on, what was happening with him. I could probably maybe reach out to him and talk to him, maybe have a coffee or something like that. But the thing is that his properties were really shoddy. He was kind of more of a slumlord, right? And basically his service, when he actually had somebody come out, it was pretty shoddy. The actual work done on his properties. So what Pangea did was, they came in with a model to where they were well financed. They had a lot of different products that you can choose, because they bought up his property. They bought up a whole bunch of properties. While people were scared, they bought up all of the properties for dirt cheap. Now the properties are skyrocketing, rent costs are high, At that time, that particular property was that apartment was about $700 a month, and there, that was 2008. Well, 2022, that same apartment is probably 12 to 1300, if not $1,400. And the building is the same building. They just basically rehabbed it, gave it, some much needed remodeling, and they're charging pretty much double because that's what the rent prices are now. And that is what I learned from the last bubble. That's what I learned. If you're gonna spend money, spend it on the right things. Thus, in essence, you hedge the fact that you are flexible and easily to able to spend money. So when it comes down to it, you'll actually in essence be making money in the long term and not wasting it. Typically what people do is, like I said, they buy property. They don't buy any assets or property, any uh cars or high ticket items that can be something of a collectible down the road. They just basically waste their money on pleasure. People have drug habits, waste their money away on drugs, cigarettes, alcohol. Those are definitely frivolous items. They waste their money on um, items that kind of tend to don't have any value later on. Like, if you buy a Coach purse, if you bought a Coach purse 10 years ago, I'm not really up on purses and wallets and stuff like that, but some brands don't really retain that much value. And one of the things I noticed about Coach purses and even Dooney, and like it was a purse called Dooney and Burke, those purses don't really retain that much value. Like if you bought a Dooney and Burke 10 years ago, you'll be hard pressed to sell it nowadays for more than what you paid for it 10 years ago. And that goes the same for a Coach purse or Coach wallet, right? So yeah, I mean, it's certain things, yeah, you buy it, you're not gonna retain that much value for it later. Like cars are pretty much mostly like that. Only certain exceptions. I mean, if you have a car that's rare where they only made so many of them, like might have only made 1,000 cars of a particular type, and you have one of them, it's safe to say that that car is going to be valuable one day. How valuable it is going to be, only time will tell. And in order to be a collector, one of the things that I know about people that do collect and collect very well, they have consistent lives. What do I mean by a consistent life? They're able to be consistent. They pretty much are constant. They you know might not be rich, but they pretty much keep the same house. They're able to, even if they don't keep the same house, they're able to basically cover their cost of expenses, cost of living, maintain it for long periods of time, and able to store the stuff that they collect. A lot of times people kind of get confused and they think, oh, I can collect, and then they're in debt. Their financial life is not, their financial house is not in order. And then when it comes time to having to be able to, save something, they sell it off for dirt cheap because they got so broke that they have to sell their stuff. Well, that's not a good way to start off being a collector. It's pretty much you got to get your life more consistent. Consistency is key and paramount. So when it comes down to what I'm going to be talking about on this talk today is this here. And thus the title of the video. Most people have, by this time or not, have already made their choice. They've already made their choice. The psychology of people is that no matter, even if you live in the ghetto or the hood, people have to think highly of their lifestyle. So that's why they try to basically represent that lifestyle or promote that lifestyle. And even in poverty, you want to think highly. The human brain is to validate that poverty. I haven't really jumped in too much on the McDonald's debacle. Meanwhile, McDonald's stock is up. The baby daddy, baby mama drama. That's pretty much circulating the web, circulating the internet. I mean, once it makes national news in the United States, you could pretty much say it's international. Once something goes viral in the United States, it pretty much goes viral across the world. And it's basically what it is this man, for one reason or another, chose this woman and chose to enjoy this woman's time, company, and body, and made a baby. Like most people that he just I don't know if the guy, he seems like a nice guy, I don't know, but for one reason or another time or another, he felt as if that he wanted to enjoy this woman. And enjoying a woman is getting excited, and then you're gonna sprinkle some seeds inside her, and she's most likely gonna get pregnant. That's how that works. In case nobody told you about the birds and the bees. And upon doing that, he did not care about the other guys and their other children that she already had, thus also ignoring that, and most likely ignoring any other type of subprime behavior that she exhibited. And the rest is history. So now, going back to representing and even promoting dysfunction, social dysfunction in her brain, that is on top of weave, eyelashes, makeup, that is pretty much something that is strongly, I would say, a waste of money, a waste of time, frivolous. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's a waste of money. At the end of the day, that's another waste of money. She is, promoting the fact that, this is something that should be done. She doesn't care how ridiculous it looks. She probably enjoys the fact that her video went viral and people are talking about it. But in a national In a national setting, it's another example. It's another example of, unfortunately, why guys should be more conservative about who they choose to be with, who they choose to sleep with. Because at the end of the day, a young guy looking at this, he's gonna think, damn, what if I have to do I is this is what daddy, is this what I have to do if I get a girl pregnant that's, she has two other children? Do I have to buy McDonald's for three other children or four other children? Is that what I have to do, dad? I mean, you don't know who has the viewpoint uh of what, you know? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You 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 don't know who, some people probably have the point of view that, yes, you do have to buy you you do have to buy uh you know food for all of the children, however that looks like. And not to mention, the man is on child support, so he's already taking care of financial responsibilities for those children. So he does extra, because I mean, you care about your children. He chose to buy the children, that the child that he has, McDonald's. And because the other men that she have obviously are not stepping in and not doing the bare minimum to make sure their children have something to eat, or she's squandering all of the money on weave, eyelashes, and foundational makeup and other wasteful, basically crap. She doesn't have any money to buy food for the other children. Basically, what she said. So him knowing that, because children will tell you what's going on. Daddy, I'm hungry. I'm not getting enough food. So he goes and basically buys the kid McDonald's. Why he's buying the kids McDonald's and not going to go see a lawyer to get custody of his child. That's a whole nother question. Now, I mean, pretty much he's got a viral, uh, you know, pretty much a clip to use for court to get pretty much slam dunk custody of his child, because obviously this woman is delusional. Her delusions are something that she's trying to come across on the internet for people to see that this should be justified. This should be an edict, a law, that if you buy your one child some food, you have to buy food for all of the other children that is not biologically yours. You're not married to her. I mean, I've been a stepdad before. I've definitely bought all of my other children food. That ain't shit. That's what I signed up for. That's what I did. Do I buy the other children McDonald's? Hell no. I'm not married anymore. That that obligation is no longer there. Now, would I buy McDonald's? Uh yeah, I would. I mean, I was their stepdaddy at one time in my life. I mean, what am I just going to just leave them out and high and dry? Not to say that they would even have me buy McDonald's. I mean, they old enough to buy their own damn McDonald's, or at least wash my car, or you know, do something to earn the McDonald's. I mean, this is just it's just really ridiculous. But it goes back to people have already made their choice. They've already made their choice. They made their choice to, like I say, it goes back to psychology. People tend to accept their norms, whatever their norms is. It could be living in a garbage dump. To escape the fact of how hard it would be to get out of the garbage dump, people psychologically will try to justify being in that garbage dump. For others to be like, you know what, it's all right to be in a garbage dump. It's okay. It's no big deal. You know, we're doing great in the garbage dump. To not just basically put your head down and either talk about how hard it is to be in the garbage dump, how fucked up and how backwards and how behind it is to be in the garbage dump, you know, and just try to deal with getting out of the garbage dump day in and day out. A lot of people tend to justify dysfunctional norms to spread some to see who can accept those dysfunctional norms, almost like trying to sell other people, in this instance off the internet, those dysfunctional norms as it's something that it should be normal. And it's hilarious. I see it happens every day. I mean, Kevin Samuels is laid to rest. He is no longer of the living. I mean, you know, he definitely would have did a live stream about this, you know, and probably I would even say, you know, because of his passing, I would say most people or women are trying to probably go back to the norm of, you know, they will probably be in check to a certain degree if Kevin Samuels was alive, because he primarily talked about this. I don't really zero in on this shit. It's just to make a point to what this I wanted to talk about, as far as how people made their choice financially. People made their choice financially to basically accept the norm that they have, whether it be to spend all of their money to put themselves in a situation where, let's just face it, a lot of the economy is based off of boom and bust. Economic boom, what's coming? Economic bust. So during the economic boom, yes, it's money, it's jobs, it's, you know, might even be government forms of welfare, grants, all kind of things. In a bust, things happen. No jobs, lack of money. Money becomes more expensive because to get loans, the government raises the interest rates, the Fed raises the interest rates. So thus buying money, getting loans become, you know, harder because the interest rate gets higher. It all happens. It happens quite a bit. I would say every 5 to 10 years is booms and busts. Stock market is good, and then, you know, you basically, you know, make a whole bunch of money, then it goes down and you lose money. I ain't gonna talk about what you should do and all that. Like I said, you know, pretty much I've have all of my content still on my channel. I don't, this is past the point of giving advice. Like I said, people have already made their choice. Unfortunately, for those that make their choice and they choose pleasure, they choose weave, they choose Black and Miles, blunts, they choose this credit card, high risk credit, uh you know credit card, mortgage, car loan, whatever high interest lifestyle that you want to live, or just staying stagnant where you are, not, basically sacrificing day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. Because, like I said before, you are the sum of your decisions. It is what it is. You have at that point already made your choice. Don't come at me in the future talking about why you did this, or be surprised or anything like that. You've already made your choice, ma'am. You've already made your choice, sir. Don't come asking me for anything. Don't accept. Don't be trying to beg me for nothing. Because when I told you this is what you need to do, you didn't listen. I'm not even the only person that's telling you things. It's a whole financial movement. It's all kind of financial channels now. You got people that are in all walks of life telling you, giving you financial advice, giving you some type of financial expertise on how you need to move. And you've already made your choice.